Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So my aunt was in town and she dropped off some toys and thought, hey, maybe you'd be able to use these. And it's this little Boba Fett, little McDonald's toys. Normally I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's toys. They're not that great. But then also in the package was this robot. And I thought, what if I made a Robo Fett? Come on, let's do it. Alright, so here's the Boba Fett head. The first thing I need to do is figure out how to take it apart. So when you've got these little triangle screws, I'm using, I think this is just a Torx bit. It's those bits that have like the little 5 stars on them, and they actually fit right in the little triangle there, and you can unscrew a little toy like that. So I got the head off, and now let's start looking at this robot and taking him apart and see what I've got to work with here. It was just a couple of screws that I had to take apart, and the head there is pretty awesome because it actually has a little connection point that the head swivels left and right. So I want to save that piece. So I think what I need to do is I need to figure out how to remove that portion and connect it onto the Boba Fett head so that the Boba Fett head will move back and forth. So I think first thing I'm going to do is just Dremel off this piece here, and then I'm going to try and salvage this piece. So I'm kind of drawing a little line here of where I want to just take my Dremel and cut this off. And all I did was just take my finger and kind of run it along so I can kind of keep the distance the same there. All right, just Dremeling that off. And it's not pretty, but it works. Make sure to always wear safety goggles if you're Dremeling plastic because it'll fling plastic right in your eyeball. I had little pieces hitting me in the lip and stuff, but I had safety glasses on. So just sanding this down, getting it nice and flat and smooth. And then what I'm going to do is take a little piece of pipe here. I just actually had this kind of in my bits box. And so I'm going to take this little piece of pipe and that will fit in there. And then I'm going to figure out how to fix it to that. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet. So as I was thinking through this, I thought, well, first off, I need to open up this hole just a little bit more so the small piece of pipe fits in a little bit better. And it kind of broke up a little bit, but I'm going to use some Magic Sculpt and kind of fill this all in. So I think I can fix all that, no problem. Then I got this piece here, and I thought, well, if I just glue it in, it might just fall off. So I'm going to actually take a piece of coat hanger, and I bent it in a U shape. And I'm going to put this up in here and glue this all in place. And I'm hoping when I put some Magic Sculpt in there to hold this all together, that coat hanger actually gives me a little bit more support so it doesn't just fall apart. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just kind of gluing everything into place. And then once this is all glued into place, I'm going to take some Magic Sculpt, and that's a 2-part epoxy that once you mix them together, it hardens in about maybe 2 hours or so. So I'm mixing this thoroughly, and then I'm just kind of sculpting it in to fill those gaps. And as I filled the gap there, I needed a little bit more, so I got another piece, pushed that on, really pressed it in there. I also took another piece and stuffed it down into the hole, into the center of the pipe there. And then I had some Magic Sculpt left over, so I started making I guess it's the cowling on his neck, the little wrinkled cloth on his neck. So I just rolled some little snakes, and I'm just sculpting those in there. So that's looking pretty cool. And if I slide it on there, I'm going to glue this on, and then I'll do one more little piece to kind of finish off where it was glued on, and there's kind of the finished result. And now I think I'm going to be able to use this head on the robot, and it actually will turn left and right. Now, I also wanted, the hands on the robot were missing, so I found this robot at the thrift store, and I just salvaged the hands from the robot. And I had to do a little bit of modification where I dremeled out just a small piece there, and that hand clips right in. So that's awesome. And I have to get my little boba dent in, so I got my Dremel out. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit that really quick and get a couple little dents in there. That'll look cool. I'll put some metallic ink in there later. Now this hand, it didn't quite work the same, so what I did was I drilled out a little hole. I'm putting a magnet here because this one actually shot like a torpedo or something. What I did was with the torpedo section, I filled it with milliput, that 2-part epoxy. I have a magnet pushed in there as well. And so we'll let that dry, we'll come back to that. There was these 2 little pieces that the head wouldn't actually fit in there, so I need to get rid of these. So I'm just snipping, slicing, and then those just snapped right off. So that worked out pretty cool. Now I think the hand epoxy should be dry now, so let's take a look at that. Yeah, so what I did was, you can see the magnets down in there, and now that clicks right in, super strong grip. And this is just kind of the construction of it, that those little wings drop in there. And now I should be able to close that up. And yeah, that looks pretty cool. And it's super sturdy. I love it. I think it's great. I actually did a little bit of super glue just to hold everything in place, just in case. All right, so now we go on to some painting. I've primed the head. I've got my Citadel green. I used the same green when I did my other Boba Fett from the Bondi model kit. I did break out the airbrush on this one. I just thought it'd be easier to cover everything in one good solid coat. And then I'll come back in and paint in the burgundy areas. On the mask, I'm taking a deep breath, bracing my pinky, and then just trying to do one nice pull. So I'm trying to be really careful with my paint job because I don't want it to be sloppy, and I'm putting a lot of work into this, and I want it to look as nice as possible. This is actually kind of a learned skill. It's not easy, but I say for new makers out there, slow down, take a deep breath, and be deliberate with your painting. And if you make a little mistake, it's no big deal. You can paint over and fix things up. So I got this new silver marker pen, and it's awesome. I love it. It's like a crazy bright chrome. So this is my first time actually using one of these, and I think I'm going to use it again. I'm just using it for some chipping, and this Boba Fett has a ton of chipping, but the helmet's done. That's looking pretty great. Now I'm going to take a Citadel wash and put it over the entire thing. And I'm going to continue to do this process throughout the rest of the build. There's a lot of painting, a lot of wash, and a lot of weathering. So here I'm just kind of painting the neck cowling gray. I've got a little bit of this red color. Again, I use this on my other Boba Fett build. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. The paint that I used is a Bear paint. It's a Bear Plus primer, and you can see it beaded up there. So I had to take this back outside, and I did a clear coat over the top, and then my paint stuck a lot better. So not sure what was in that paint, but I actually liked the paint okay. But yeah, here's the shoulder pad, and you can see I'm really thinking through the Boba Fett kind of color scheme, shoulders and stuff. So, and then I was like, oh, he's got a rocket on his back. I need to build a rocket. So look at this awesome bits box of just weapons. I've been collecting these over the years. I found these 3 rockets, so I think I'm going to kind of hack them apart and try and build a little jetpack. And I also found this cool little metal piece, and look at that, it has 4 little slots in it. I have no clue what that thing is for, but it works really nice, and it's going to give a little bit of variety to the rocket. So I think I like that. Now what I do is I took a little piece of polystyrene and I ran it all the way through and glued it onto the end here. So you'll see I glued this on, and then I ran a piece of polystyrene, and then I actually ended up drilling a little hole in the back of the battery pack, and so I could set the rocket in and have a little bit more secure glue down on the back of the rocket. So all right, here's a finished arm with the weathering, the chipping and stuff. I'm going to do a Citadel wash on that, just like I did with the helmet. In the Citadel wash, you just brush it on, paper towel, wipe it off. It looks pretty great. There was this little plastic piece that has some lighting and electronics. I'm going to try and save the electronics, but when I put that together, I was like, I just don't love that red. So I kind of took a gamble. I wasn't quite sure if it would work. I did a light sanding on it just with some 1200 grit sandpaper, so it's really smooth. I sanded that down really well, and then I got my airbrush back out and I sprayed that dark green on there, Sorry, I kind of drifted off to the bottom of the camera there, but yeah, okay, so here's kind of the finished paint job. You can see I painted the tassels, kind of like the Wookiee strap that he has, painted his belt brown. Just kind of, again, thinking through the color scheme. I'm painting up he's kind of got these like yellowish orange knee guards or shin guards, so I'm painting those up kind of in the knee area there. This was just little panels and stuff. I thought I'm just gonna add a little bit of a dark gray just to kind of offset it. You can see the boots kind of did a couple of different shades of gray just to offset those. I think that's working pretty nice. And then I'm finishing up the little details on the rocket. I think these little touches of color with the red, the yellow, and the metal is really nice. I'll do a little bit extra chipping. I'm gonna do one more wash over the top and finish this thing up. So, whew, man, that's a lot of painting. Let's call this one done. All right, that was a really fun build, and I'll be honest, the best part of this build for me was the problem solving of how to get the head to work and the hands. I actually enjoyed building the rocket as well. That was super fun, a little extra detail. And I saved the electronics, so wait till the turnaround shot because I will push the electronics and he kind of walks across. But at the end, the paint job, man, it was just so much work. I didn't realize how much it was going to be. In fact, at one point I thought I was done. I turned around, there's a whole nother panel. I was like, oh, no. But I think in the end it turned out pretty cool, and I really like it. So let's take some turnaround shots, and as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.
Astrobot. Expel intruders. Activate crystal